It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
With 8 months to go before the election, President Biden used his State of the Union address to present a clear contrast between his positions on issues like immigration and the economy and rival Donald Trump's. Biden also aimed to demonstrate that he's not too old for a second term.
You could tell by the way he walked in the room that he was ready to disprove the doubters. It was someone who was feisty, someone who missed, quite frankly, the congressional fisticuffs. And so my impression, coming away from this speech was that this is someone who's going to be ready for the campaign.
Here's a reality check on how Biden is framing his administration's top priorities. Fresh off a visit to the U.S.-Mexico border, Biden scolded Republicans for backing away from a bipartisan border bill introduced in February.
Now, Republicans would argue President Biden has had several years to address the southern border and has not done very much, but President Biden saw an opportunity for him to play offense on the southern border.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing.
But you could tell in this speech that he felt like he had the upper hand politically, and he was really trying to take it to Republicans.
At one point, prompted by shouting Republicans, Biden went off script to address the death of Laken Riley, who authorities say was killed by an illegal immigrant.
An innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right.
This was not something that was in his prepared remarks. I think it was his attempt to try to get Republicans to see that he was going to try to meet them maybe somewhere in the middle. President Biden acknowledged that there is a real crisis on the southern border. And he said that he needs Congress's help and that he would have supported a bipartisan bill.
Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair?
Biden also emphasized the economy and changes he wants to make to taxation.
Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%. So every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share.
So I think what he was doing was trying to create kind of a populist tax plan that he believes would kind of appeal to a lot of middle-class voters who feel like they're paying a lot of taxes. I think it's going to take a long time for Americans to realize that the economy in some ways is doing much better than they feel. Whether or not Americans believe his characterization of the economy in November, that will be a deciding factor in the election.
One theme in Biden's speech was challenges to democracy, both at home and abroad.
If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself.
A funding bill that includes about $60 billion in aid related to Ukraine passed in the Senate, but has yet to be brought to the House floor.
The issue is it's a tremendous amount of money. I mean, the U.S. has already given Ukraine tens of billions of dollars. And so the question is, are they going to have to keep doing that every 6 months? It's kind of a debate that Republicans want to have. They want to have some accountability over this money, and they believe that there's a lot of other crises, including crises in the United States, that deserve attention and money too.
I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching.
With a Democrat-led Senate and a GOP-led House, bipartisan movement on these items has proven difficult.
President Biden usually spends a lot of time talking about unity and bringing the country together. However, a lot of the speech was aimed at Republicans and the policies that they will not support, whether it's Ukraine, immigration, gun control, abortion rights. And so I think the speech did feel quite partisan.
Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you.
And now that fits with the theme of it being almost a campaign speech and it being an election year and his supporters shouting 4 more years.